for Thursday, everyone. I am your host for Your Health and You, Janelle Powell. You're watching here on CJC's online platform, and we have a really wonderful program lined up for you today. So, we're at the beginning of the show. So there's a lot of time to like this video, to most importantly share this video because we want it to go far and wide, and also subscribe. Tonight we're going to be talking about a very exciting topic. Although I don't think many of us can really relate to it because we've done a major part of this when we were younger. Can you guess? Can you guess what it is? It's a medical procedure, of course. It's immunization. We're talking all things immunization today. But as we go forward, I have a few things to remind you of. So, Your Health and You is aired every Thursday at 7:15. We focus on general health on first Thursdays, men's health on second Thursdays, women's health on third Thursdays, children's health, which is a fourth Thursday today, and mental health on fifth Thursdays. Though we have medical professionals coming in, this program is for educational and informational purposes only, and it does not constitute providing medical advice or professional services. So, before you go on any health-related information presented in this series, we encourage you to seek counsel and advice from your doctor or healthcare professional. Before we dive further into the topic of immunization, let's enjoy a reading from the book Counsels on Health by Ellen G. White.
God's people to stand in purity. Men and women cannot violate natural law by indulging depraved appetites and lustful passions without violating the law of God. Therefore, He has permitted the light of health reform to shine upon us, that we may realize the sinfulness of breaking the laws which He has established in our very being. Our Heavenly Father sees the deplorable condition of men who, many of them ignorantly, are disregarding the principles of hygiene. And it is in love and pity to the race that He causes the light to shine upon health reform. He publishes His law and its penalties in order that all may learn what is for their highest good. He proclaims His law so distinctly and makes it so prominent that it is like a city set on a hill. All intelligent beings can understand it if they will. None others are responsible.
Let's dive right into a word of prayer as we get ready to speak about our health. Dear Heavenly Father, we are grateful for good health, good life, a great mind, and the opportunity to give thanks to you. Dear Lord, as we go into a discussion about immunization, I pray that you first of all open our hearts to receive the information that will be shared with us on this program. I pray that wherever we are, whatever illnesses that are plaguing us, whatever we are going through, that we remember to first rely on you and then rely on the resources that you have given us to help us to recover, whether it be mentally, physically, or spiritually, from anything that ails us. Thank you so much for preserving us up until this moment, and thank you for the opportunity to share and gain more knowledge. In your name I pray. Amen.
Celebrations. Liquids. Next to air, water is the most vital element needed for survival. Every day, intricate processes within your body use water to keep you alive. In fact, humans are about 70% water, which clearly shows that water does much more than just quench thirst. Studies show that water is the transport system within the body, the facilitator of digestion, a temperature regulator, a major constituent of the circulating blood, and a lot more. Clearly, water is the liquid of life. But how much water do we really need to stay hydrated and enjoy its benefits? In a healthy person, the rule of thumb is to consume enough throughout the day to ensure that the urine is clear. Begin your day by drinking water, because your body will be relatively dehydrated after sleeping. Then keep drinking water at regular intervals throughout the day. Staying hydrated is key to good health. Life couldn't exist without water. All your body functions require it. Water cleanses, refreshes, and powerfully aids your body's restoration.
The Seventh-day Adventist Church Central Jamaica Conference, in association with Portmore, Tent City, Gregory Park, Hellshire, and Brayton District of Churches, invites you to Countdown to the End Evangelistic Series with Evangelist Dr. Cheyenne O'Connor, March 3 to 30, under the Big White Tent, Municipal Boulevard, Greater Portmore, St. Catherine, across from the JUTC Depot. Come hear dynamic preaching from Sundays to Wednesdays and Fridays at 7:15 nightly and 9:15 a.m. on Sabbaths. That's the Countdown to the End Evangelistic Series from March 3 to March 30. Come and be blessed. For more information, visit www.centralja.org.
You're watching Your Health and You right here on CJC's online platform. We're talking about immunization today. And I have a few interesting facts just before I introduce our guest, who is no stranger to you. I'm going to give you a hint as to who it is. He was here the last time I was. All right. So I'm going to give you some time. So we have vaccines now to prevent more than 20 life-threatening diseases, helping people of all ages live longer and healthier lives. Currently, vaccinations prevent 3 to 3.5 to 5 million deaths every year. Did you know? I'm going to say it again. Did you know that vaccines currently help to prevent 3.5 to 5 million deaths per year? And we're talking from diseases that I've never heard about. We're talking about diphtheria, tetanus, pertussis, influenza, and measles. The only one of these I've been affected by personally is influenza. So aren't you a little bit interested to find out how these have developed, how they work, and why they're important? Here's another fact for you. Thanks to 20 years of collective global efforts to reduce the incidence of polio from 3,500 cases a year in 1998 to just 33 in 2018 is all thanks to the development of the polio vaccine. That means that up to 18 million people can walk today because we have this vaccine that can prevent this preventable disability. Our special guest today is Dr. Curtis A. Price. So if you got it right, you got it right. He is the president of the Pediatric Association of Jamaica. He's a pediatric consultant at the Maypen Hospital and the manager of Gilead Pediatrics Center in Maypen, Clarendon. He has a passion for secondary and primary pediatric care, having completed an undergraduate and postgraduate studies at the University of the West Indies in pediatrics. He has presented at various conferences locally and internationally, so he is very well qualified to come and speak to us on the topic of immunization. But just before he comes on, we're going to have a short break. So remember, if you have any questions now or going forward into the rest of the program, feel free to post them under the chat. We want to hear from you. We want to interact with you, and we want you to be enlightened by the end of this conversation. So let's head on over to that video, and on the other side of this break, we talk to Dr. Price.
A study in the Archives of General Psychiatry, August 2008, finds that children who do not get enough sleep are more likely to be overweight than their well-rested peers. The researchers determined that a 1-hour reduction in daily REM sleep nearly tripled a child's odds for overweight and obesity. That's a fact. But there's hope. Bring back the bedtime story, prayers, and tuck-in time. Establishing a regular bedtime routine can ensure that your child gets adequate sleep and help to reduce their risk for obesity. So, for the little ones, more sleep equals better fit.
All right, so Dr. Price is here with me, and we're gearing up to talk about immunization. On the stream, on the stream, I'm seeing 51 of you. There are 51 of you on the stream. I wanted to say thank you for joining us today. Maxine Anderson, ladies and gentlemen, Maxine Anderson is a tried and true supporter of all things Adventist, especially when it's coming out of Jamaica. If it's NCUFM, if it's CJC online, if it's a crusade somewhere in central Jamaica, she is tuned in. So she's sending us greetings from Texas. We also have Lorna. I know I saw Lorna watching something last night. And we also have Elaine who says good evening to everyone. And from right here in Jamaica, we have Egbert Rickman sending his greetings. So, Doctor, how are you today? How are you doing?
I am absolutely well, a little tired, but I'm good and giving God thanks.
It's I think the tiredness may be because we're somewhere in between the middle of the week and a holiday. So we're getting into rest mode.
Yeah.
So we're here talking about immunization. And the first thing we want to talk about, of course, is what immunization is. So let's start right there.
All right. So thanks again for having me, and thanks to Pastor Douglas for inviting me to speak again. All right. So with respect to immunization, a simplistic definition is looking at the word immunization. So the word literally means to make immune. So that's basically what immunization is, to make immune by a vaccine, or an inoculation. When we think about immunity, we can become immune by being exposed to an infectious agent, say a bacteria, a virus. When we're exposed to those infectious agents, there can be, say, about three outcomes. The first one is that you get mildly sick, you recover, you develop some immunity to the infectious agent, because what your body does is God is so amazing. When you're exposed to something, your body put in place something to remember that little invading agent, right? So that when it comes in, the little soldiers are produced in rapid numbers quickly. So you can be exposed to the virus, you get mildly sick and recover and develop immunity, or you can become severely ill and recover and develop immunity, or you become severely ill, but you develop complications of that illness. For example, polio. Young you have no clue what the effects of polio are, right? I have a cousin who had paralysis from polio, in the days when polio was very rampant, right? So he was exposed to the virus, he developed immunity, but he was one of those who had severe. I have a friend who was a Seventh-day Adventist who developed, his testes was affected by mumps. You understand? So, and I have another child who got chicken pox and she's now brain dead. All right. So you can have these immunizable diseases causing a lot of these things.
Okay. So then that means that if immunization means to make immune, then that's exactly what vaccines are helping us do. So is it a case where the vaccines are introducing the virus to our body for us to build that immunity?
All right. So basically, for you to be exposed. All right. So when you're exposed to I'm sorry, I got a little distracted. So for vaccine, there are different types of vaccines, right? The end game, though, is that you need to have a protein that your body can recognize and act against, and hence, develop that immunity to future exposures. And vaccine does this by various means. So they can take a piece of the virus, take a piece of the protein of the virus or the bacteria, and make a vaccine out of it. Sometimes what they do is they take the whole bacteria, but they do something to it, to the bacteria that causes it not to be deadly to the body, right? So it's a live bacteria or virus, right? But it has been, exposed to various stuff inside or so on that makes it not dangerous to you. So you're exposed to it. Your body's developing an immune response to it, but it's not killing you. You understand? And you might have heard of RNA, DNA, and that sort of thing, viruses, immunizations, but the basic principle, not to be complicated, but for us to make protein, you need DNA. So that's the DNA inside of our cells. The DNA makes RNA, right? That's how God, does it. And the RNA makes proteins, right? So you can actually do any of the three. You can, introduce the protein at the end. You can introduce an mRNA, which the body will use to make the protein, or you can introduce a DNA, which the body will use to make the RNA and hence the protein. So that's the basic essence of what immunization is. And then your body reacts to the protein and produce these immune elements that help you in the future to resist the actual, organism when it comes into place.
So with science as intricate and as important as this, can you go into the importance of, because I know it's still not a widely accepted practice in some very small circles not to have children immunized, but why is it important for us to have our children or individuals immunized against these diseases?
Yeah. So as we said before, the problem is that for young people like us, or should I say young people like you, we a lot of people are not exposed to what these disease conditions are. And the reason for that is that we were immunized, right? So because of
Right.
immunization, a lot of those diseases have become very rare, and a lot of them have been eradicated. If 50 years ago somebody said to you, I'm going to give you a polio vaccine, 110% of persons are going to say, please, right away. You understand? Because they look around and they see their brother, their cousin, their auntie, their uncle, being paralyzed, being affected physically by this disease. So if we look at all the different things that we immunize against, diphtheria, whooping cough is still around. You said that you were exposed to influenza. That's the only one that you think you had, but you probably had whooping cough and didn't know, right? So people still die from whooping cough. Children die from whooping cough, even in this modern era. And a lot of it has to do with the reduction of, vaccine. Chicken pox, right? A lot of people think chicken pox is just a skin disease, right? And as I said to you before, I've had a child, she's in my head up to this day, who had chicken pox, and she has never recovered. She's totally paralyzed, brain dead, and she eventually died just from chicken pox invading her brain. Chicken pox can affect an unborn baby. So a lot of babies, the mother is pregnant and she gets exposed to chicken pox. It damages our baby permanently. Moms can affect reproduction. So a lot of males, in the old days who were exposed to moms and that sort of thing as a child, they can't have children. Rubella can damage the brain severely. It can cause heart problems, So, yeah, there are a lot of real benefits to vaccination to prevent, a lot of these complications related to these diseases.
You know, the my most recent, I think we've all had a recent experience when it comes to introducing a new vaccine. And I think what, like you mentioned, what played a big part in persons taking the vaccine would be seeing the results of this disease and how it affects other people. And so there's a lot of proof there. So in those circles, I'm thinking where immunization is not an encouraged practice, it may just be the comfort of the science that we're resting in, knowing that we don't see these things affecting us the same way that it would have affected people decades, years ago. We're not too keen on taking up these vaccines anymore. But like you said, I think if it is that we look back at how this affected people of old, then we would be more inclined to protect ourselves. And so at birth, I know that we are given a set of vaccinations so that we are protected. But I know that there is a top up that we have to do at some point. So is there a vaccination schedule, and what is it like here in Jamaica?
All right. So the vaccination schedule for Jamaica is a little different than that in the US, and a lot of it has to do with just resources and availability of funding and that sort of thing. Because some of the vaccines are quite expensive. But in Jamaica, we give the BCG vaccine, and BCG protects against tuberculosis. When I was a young doctor, we had a massive amount of tuberculosis in Jamaica. Even doctors and nurses were exposed to TB, right? So some people might not know it as tuberculosis. TB, a lot of individuals are really exposed to tuberculosis. So we give BCG, protection against tuberculosis at birth. We also give hepatitis B. And hepatitis virus, the hepatitis B virus is notorious for causing serious liver damage. Not only liver damage and liver failure, but hepatitis B also causes liver cancer. And I clearly remember Ellen G. White in one of her books said that cancer is a virus, right? And that resonated with me because hepatitis B virus can cause liver cancer. A number of individuals with liver cancer,
Oh.
they have hepatitis B. So that's at birth. At 6 weeks is our what we call our primary series. So we give the primary series at 6 weeks, 3 months, and 6 months, right? By primary series, and you talk about booster later. So we give the primary series, and then it's followed by the boosters. So we give DPT, polio, Haemophilus influenza. We give those at 6 weeks, 3 months, and 6 months, right?
Okay.
Then at a year, we give measles, mumps, and rubella. Okay. Just to say quickly, Haemophilus influenza, that we as a part of the schedule at 6 weeks, 3 months, and 6 months, causes meningitis. Also, but I feel like I'm getting old. When I was a young doctor in studies, we had children coming into Children's Hospital, Bustamante, with Haemophilus influenza meningitis. They came in, they had headaches, fever, that sort of thing, and they left paralyzed, right? And it was very devastating. But since Jamaica introduced a Haemophilus influenza vaccine to all children, it has been eradicated. I haven't seen meningitis in children in a very long time, right? And it's really because of immunization. The children we literally, when we did the lumbar puncture, that's the thing that we used to test for the fluid around the brain. These children had pus running from their spinal cord, right? Because of that deadly bacteria.
Mm-hmm.
Mumps and rubella at a year, and then we give a booster at 18 months for DPT, tetanus, whooping cough, and then at 4 years we give a booster again for DPT and polio. And of course, children in school, they give them the HPV vaccine, the girls in
All
first grade.
right. So the schedule is Primary series, that's 6 weeks, 3 months, 6 months.
right?
And that's DPP, polio, influenza,
Yes, DPT, polio, Haemophilus influenza, and hepatitis B.
and hepatitis B. At 1 year,
Yeah,
we introduce the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccines.
yes.
Then we go to 4 years, or is there an in between?
18 months.
18 months.
Right. You get
And
a
that's
booster of
more?
the MMR
Oh, okay.
and DPT booster as well. So these are the booster vaccines.
And then 4 years, and then at 4 years we get the DPT, and in
DPT
school the
and
girls
polio,
get the HPV.
HPV. Yeah.
All right, I'm taking my notes, ladies
Yes.
and gentlemen. I hope you're doing the same. So we have a question in the chat that asks what year the vaccine for meningitis was brought to Jamaica. This person says that they lost their brother to it in 1985.
85. That's that is just very poignant because as far as I recall, and I think I'm correct, it was introduced after 85.
Oh,
After 85, a
wow.
lot of children died from meningitis, and a lot of children developed serious cerebral palsy and brain damage from meningitis in the old days. I remember it clearly. You understand? And I remember we introduced the vaccine just because of the number of children that were dying. And within a couple of years, meningitis for children was almost a thing of the past. And in my practice presently, when we say meningitis these days, one case we get excited. You understand? So
Is that rare?
yeah, the vaccination has really, done some good. But the thing is that because of the apathy and the whole issue surrounding vaccination, we're seeing a number of these diseases coming back.
So why is it that we start so early? Why is it that I can't fight me? I can't be vaccinated when I'm like 15 or 16?
And the funny thing is that if I was to offer you the option of a time or an age for vaccination or not vaccinating, I would say 15. Do you understand? So it's actually the opposite. It's the young children, young babies, their immune system are immature and developing, right? So they are the most vulnerable. The first year of life is the most critical, point with respect to immune function. So their immune system are not well developed, and if they get exposed to these bacteria, and stuff, they are going to develop serious problems because their immune system are just not that robust, right? So that's the main
Right.
reason.
But what if I were to say that because of the vaccinations and because these diseases aren't around, I may not need to have my child vaccinated because there's no more exposure to it?
Right. And what I would say to that is that in the US at present, um, there is an outbreak of measles in the US. I should have come prepared with the stats, but the number of deaths from measles are rapidly rising. And that's directly related to the fact that because of the apathy related to vaccines and a lot of misinformation related to vaccines, a number of persons are refusing to vaccinate their children, and we're seeing a re-emergence of the diseases, and children are dying, right? They're really dying from the re-emergence.
Oh my. So that answers that question. But the last time I got a vaccine, I remember it did me so bad. I had fever, I had muscle aches and pains, and you mentioned that you do exhibit you when we get a vaccine, we do exhibit some kinds of signs and symptoms. And so I'm tying my question to a YouTube question that is asking if it is that when babies get the BCG vaccines, if it's followed by a fever. So are these normal experiences when we are vaccinated?
Yeah, the fact of the matter is that it might sound strange what I'm going to say, but it is not the vaccine that is causing the symptoms. It is you, if you understand what I mean. So basically, what is happening is that you're exposed to the agent, or the protein associated with the virus or the bacteria and stuff, and your body reacts to it. It is the reaction of your body that produce these symptoms.
Oh.
That's basically what is happening, right? So your body's reacting to these. There are a lot of disease conditions that you actually didn't die because the bacteria came into your system. You actually die because your body reacted to it so vigorously that
Mm.
it caused all sorts of issues. So it's really the body's response sometimes, and that is why when they make vaccines, you have to give a particular dose, and they test it to ensure that when they give a critical concentration, the body doesn't overreact, and that sort of thing. It's really the body's reaction to the infectious agent that caused the issue.
Okay, so some of the things that we are seeing, like fevers and just the way our body reacts, is an
Yeah.
expected reaction.
It's unexpected and it's a normal reaction. Actually, if somebody has HIV and the HIV is out of control, your body will not have a fever. It won't even react to the vaccine, and the vaccine won't work, right? So a
Oh.
lot of times you having the fever and that sort of thing. It's saying that your immune system is functioning optimally. It's a usual. And if you think about it, if you get a flu, right, your body is going to react to it the same way, right? It's just that we're not giving you the whole dangerous flu vaccine. We're giving you, a protein from the flu vaccine, but the body recognizes it as the virus and reacts to it. That's
Okay,
basically what is happening.
okay. So I have a question in my lineup that's a bit. It makes you go. "Hmm?" It asks if it's true that vaccines lead to autism.
Right. You've never heard that before, right?
Not personally.
Yes, so it is a big thing, and I'll tell you exactly where it's coming from. And that is the reason why a lot of parents don't give their children the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine, right? Because how many years ago? A couple years ago, probably over 20 plus years ago, a gentleman, a doctor, did a small research, and he had probably a few patients. And what he said he found from his research is there's a correlation between the giving the MMR, the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine, and children developing autism. It was not a authentic study, and they have done a multiplicity of major studies, voluminous amount of studies, correlating or trying to correlate MMR with autism, and no correlate has been found. Right, so there's no association at all between MMR and what happens is that autism usually start manifesting around the time that the measles vaccine is given, right?
Oh,
So
okay.
most children with autism are going to show up between a year and 2 years. And of course, as we said before, measles is given at a year and the booster is given at 18 months. So a lot of people, because of the timing, they make that association. That said, children with autism start showing signs long before a year. It's just that they're not so overt and people don't pick them up. The socialization, the contact issues, and that sort of thing. A lot of them have signs earlier, and they have done PET scans and different scans of the brain of children, which indicate a different architecture of the brain of children with autism compared to to other children. The fact of the matter is that we don't know what caused autism, but what we do know is that there's no association between autism and the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine.
That is a very short statement, ladies and gentlemen. We have an expert in the house. But it kind of goes to show you how sometimes we latch on to how easily we can latch on to certain information and how important research is, because now it's not all the time we can just take what is publicized and
Exactly.
run with it. So my final question to you is asking if there are some children that vaccinations are not recommended for.
Mhm. All right. So as we said before, some vaccines are protein vaccines. So we take a piece of the protein from the vaccine, from the organism, from the bacteria or virus, and we use it to make a vaccine. There are some vaccines that actually consist of the live organism that has been modified, so it won't cause disease, but it's actually live. All right. Chickenpox is a live vaccine. Okay. So they modified somewhat that it doesn't cause the disease. So if you get the chickenpox vaccine, not that it can cause you to get chickenpox, but your body reacts to it. Those types of vaccine, the live vaccines, they are not recommended for patients who are immunocompromised. So if you have an HIV patient who is say his viral load and is very high, his immune function is just very depressed because of the HIV infection, then that child must be exempted from getting live vaccines. Okay. If you're on steroids, for various reasons, you have to have immune dysfunction and that sort of thing, and your doctor say put you on steroids, you can't get. They should hold vaccines generally until a specified time. So there are some other indications, but in general, hospitalized patients should not get live vaccines either. All right. So those are the major contraindications, to vaccinations.
Okay. So, as we're wrapping up this brief but very potent discussion on immunization, is there any last word that you want to leave with the viewers at home?
Yeah, so a lot of people might be listening to me and saying, boy, this is such an unbalanced, biased view approach to vaccination. And I will say that vaccines have their side effects. You understand? So we have had children who have been given vaccines and they develop issues. You understand? They develop issues. But I must say, based on my exposure and experience with children, the side effects are extremely uncommon. Right? It's just that when you hear about a side effect from a vaccine, it makes the news, right? I mean, if I get say COVID and I die from COVID, I know that's not a big deal. But if you get vaccinated for COVID and you develop a stroke, it makes the news, right? Similar thing for I have a child who got an injection and it affected his limb, and that sort of thing. But that's a one child that I've ever seen. You understand? As opposed
Yeah.
to polio that causes, paralysis almost a significant percentage of time if you're exposed, to the polio virus. You understand? So I would say, parents take the time, just do your research, get yourself informed and educated, and make the right decision for your child and for the general community.
Thank you. That was Dr. Curtis Price, ladies and gentlemen, the president of the Pediatric Association of Jamaica and a pediatric consultant at the Maypen Hospital, and also manager of the Gilead Pediatrics Center in Maypen, Clarendon. He has lots of words of wisdom to share. He is a professional, so we urge you to make your own decisions, listen very keenly to what he has to say, and also consult your doctor as it relates to immunization and any other questions that you may have, or call Dr. Price at his practice if you have any questions or concerns following this discussion. So we are going into the naturopathic discussion, but before we do get that perspective, we're going to have a quick break. So don't go nowhere. I'm going to see you on the other side of this break.
Hello, everybody.
We are Hosanna Praise.
And we are inviting you
To join us at the 5,
4,
3, 2,
1.
Countdown to the End Evangelistic Series.
With who? With Evangelist Dr. Cheyenne O'Connor, beginning March 3, 2024.
And where will
enlightened. Municipal Boulevard, right across from the JUTC depot, Portmore, St. Catherine.
See you there.
Oh,
We have come with open hearts. Oh, let the ancient words impart.
All right, everybody. I see you in the chat. I see you being very, very active. I am going to shout out a few people while we have our next guest joining us. We have Pauline Blake. Welcome, 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 Pauline. We have Roxana Nelson Snaith. She's watching from Virginia in the United States. Always great to hear that our message is going far and it's going wide. And also Andre McCall. He's been leaving very interesting comments in the YouTube section. Whenever he hears something new, he goes, huh? Oh, okay. So thank you all for joining us. So I am now joined by my naturopathic guest, Miss Davina Gale. Hi, Sister Gale. How are you?
I am fine. Thank you very much for having me.
So you are a health food advocate and a restaurant owner, which is very fancy if you ask me. And you've been tuned into the conversation between me and Dr. Price. So I wanted to hear your perspective, your naturopathic perspective on vaccination.
All right. So what I am going to say to us all is it is key to boost our immune systems and to maintain good health. And that is the secret. That is important in terms of fighting all diseases, whether it be communicable disease or a lifestyle disease. Whatever it is, we need to optimize our health and we need to maintain it. So what we have a lot of times is that people wait until something happens, then we start trying to firefight. But if you live your life in accordance with the principles of health, you will find that diseases will come and they will go and you don't even notice them. And I'm a living example of that. I mean, we don't have time to share my whole testimony, but I used to be a sickly child. Everything, chicken pox, measles, everything that used to come around, I used to get it, right? And then when I changed my diet and my lifestyle and I lived the principles of health, and I'm not talking about speaking it now, I'm talking about living it. I have not seen a doctor since I don't even know when. I have not been ill, right? So, but a few things I just want to share today is that
Sure.
few foods, right, that we can just put in our daily diet, our daily lifestyle, our fruits and our vegetables. You're looking at things like your oranges, your citruses. These are rich in vitamin C that are rich in antioxidants and will really help you to fight off free radicals and viruses and fungus, etc. So include your citruses in your diet daily. You can take it as a shot in the morning. In fact, you could squeeze some orange juice, or it could be some sour orange, which are maybe in season at this time in Jamaica, limes or lemons, and take that with a shot of garlic or a shot of onion, and you could add a little honey to this as well. And now I'm talking about the local honey that is natural and pure, that is unrefined, uncooked, you know, the pure stuff that comes from the bee. Add a little of that to it, blend it up, and take a shot of that every morning to boost the immune system. Have some lemon water or just squeeze some lime juice, take a straw to protect your enamels, right, of your pearly whites, and take your shot of citrus juice every morning. That will help you to boost the immune system. Plus, you will get added benefits of supporting the collagen mechanism of the body, making your skin look supple, nice, and even younger than you actually are. And I'm sure you would definitely enjoy that. Yes. There are foods that we often ignore, especially here in Jamaica. And I've just brought my piece of tuna cactus here, right? So this is very hydrating. This is also rich will boost your immune system very well. This will also reverse the signs of aging. It actually tastes good. Believe it or not, it is not bitter. It is not bitter. This is actually refreshing and nice. So I have this in my salads regularly. I just slice it up. I add a little lemon juice to this and a little olive oil, and I'm telling you, it's finger licking good. This right here. Yes. I also throw this in my smoothie. I will blend this up with some coconut water. And when I say blend, the only thing I do is I wash the spiky bits off, and I have this with my smoothie. I have it in my juices. I have it in my salad. And of course, yes, I also use it on my skin and my hair.
So what does it taste like? Like, what can I compare it to?
Lemony. Lemony. It is very citrusy in flavor. Oh, yes, it is.
So okay.
Its cousin, aloe vera, is pretty bitter. All right. So what
I know.
Yeah. If you're going to make a green juice and you can't handle the bitter, use the gel only, right? Put a little of the gel in. Doesn't taste as bad as the entire plant. The other thing I will say is our skin is one of our number one barriers, and it's our first line of defense when we are protecting ourselves against viruses and bacteria. Oftentimes we break down our immune system by using a lot of chemicals. So typical some of our main over-the-counter lotions and body butters and body washes, etc. These break down our immune system actually, because what they do is actually wash away our good bacteria, and then we find ourselves trapped in this cycle where we wash it away with the chemicals, and then we have to spray all day and use these 24 hours. First it used to be 7 hours, then 8 hours, then it goes to 24 hours. Now I'm seeing even 72 hours. I'm like, really? Right. But if you stop using most of these products on your skin, you will save your own life. You will save a lot of money as well. And I'm telling you, I haven't used anything on my skin except water since before COVID. Anywhere you see me in Jamaica, stop me and smell me. I could be washing in sweat, stop me and smell me. I will go in a room and people will say, wow, they either smell fruit or they smell something nice. People will see me. I have a client that a gentleman said to her, wow, your breath, it smells so good. Your gut is clean. It means cleaning your system, optimizing your health with your food. Eat what the Lord gave us in the Garden of Eden, and you will not regret it. So your beans, your seeds, like your pumpkin seed, your sunflower seed, your chia seed, your flax seed, these are brilliant for your omegas. Get your sunshine, your vitamin D. Stay outside. Enjoy 45 minutes of sunshine. And as Black people, that's what we need. Get the best of what God has given us in nature, right? Drink your water, get sufficient rest. Stop going to bed late and then trying to wake up late. It's better to go early and then wake up earlier. And if you think, oh, I've woken up too early and it's just midnight, just talk to the Lord in prayer, because maybe he's waking you up for that purpose, right? So eat healthily, sleep right, drink your water. I cannot overemphasize the importance of exercise in keeping the body up, right? And not only does it boost your immune system, but you feel so good, especially as a lady, as a woman. You feel like a proper woman, all right? So yes, exactly, upright like. So all I have to say is support you. There's only one you, and God has made you fearfully and wonderfully. You are royal, and he has given you herbs as the healing of the nation. Right. So after we sinned, we were kicked away from the tree of life, but we should try to go back as close to it as possible. That's it from me.
That was a wonderful, I think that was a real wellness shot. I think that was more wellness than a wellness shot. Thank you so much, Sister Gail. We're going to be wrapping up the show now, but you had shared a lot of things, and one of the biggest messages that screamed out to me was to support you. We have the natural science and we have the advanced science, and seeing how those two can work hand in hand can only be to our benefit, to support the immune system, boost it, as we have these advancements in science and technology to help us fight diseases. So this is God's body, and we need to take care of it with the help of the things that he's given us, as you very well reminded us, Sister Gail, and as well through the people who He has provided to help support us in this way. To all of you on YouTube, I see you in the chat. Listen, Sister Gail, they're going crazy. They're saying, excellent, godly truth, Sister Gail. They were agreeing with the cough, the honey and onion working for cough. Everyone is supportive of your message. And I know that we are preaching to the choir when we're encouraging everyone to take care of their body. So this is where I'm going to be leaving the show with you today. Thank you everyone so much for watching. And remember to share this video. The information that we're sharing here on this fourth Thursday is not just for this fourth Thursday, it's for henceforth. So going forward, we want you to let people in on what is happening here on the CJC online platform every Thursday at 9:15. Next week, we're going to be focusing on oral hygiene. And Sister Gail, who has the breath of an air freshener, has given us a little bit of insight into what we can do to make sure that our oral hygiene is on point, and it all starts from inside. Thank you so much to Dr. Price, who came on and gave us a wealth of knowledge so that when we talk about immunizations and in your conversations about immunizations and vaccinations, you will be well informed and you'll be able to share valuable information to your friends and your family, or even just enrich yourself. So we will see you next week, Thursday, right here at 7:15. And I leave with you 3 John 2. Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prospereth. Good night.